Hey dog people, if your business has been feeling heavier than it should, not broken, just out of sync, I created a resource just for this kind of season. It's called Bloom Your Dog Biz From Within, an 8-part audio series plus 2 bonus episodes and a journal designed to help you grow your dog biz in a way that's aligned, sustainable, and actually feels like you. We dive into things like setting boundaries without guilt, navigating tricky client moments, untangling your work from your self-worth, and redefining success through your own values. You can start listening today at www.thedogbiznerd.com/bloom or by clicking the link in the show notes. Welcome to Dog Training Bytes, the show where canine professionals share their key takeaways, big aha moments, and hardest lessons learned from working with dogs. I'm Mattison, certified dog trainer and behavior consultant, and dogs are my life. Every day I get to coach guardians and other trainers into a deeper understanding of canine behavior. But let's face it, sometimes dog training really bites. And that's okay, because when it does, we learn a lot. This podcast is all about sharing the lessons learned from experience, because the stories of when it got tough or when we made a mistake, that's when we learn the lessons worth learning. And it's time we share those with the world. I'll be talking to dog trainers and other pet professionals about times that working with dogs, well, bit. Not literally. Maybe literally. What's most important here on this show, what did they walk away with? What did they learn? How did it shape their approach today? Welcome to Dog Training Bytes, the show where pet professionals share personal lessons that you won't find in any textbook. Today, I'm speaking with Alex Dunn. Alex is a certified professional dog trainer with a master's in education and is the owner and head trainer of Emmy's Way in Grand Rapids, Michigan. A former educator specializing in English as a second language, Alex discovered a passion for dog training after rescuing her dog, Emmy. She pursued extensive education, including coursework with Fenzi Dog Sports Academy and a training internship before launching her own business. Alex specializes in reactive dogs, scent work, and confidence building through tricks. With a compassionate, curiosity-driven approach, she helps pet parents strengthen their bond with their dogs through individualized positive reinforcement training. Hey, Alex, thank you so much for agreeing to come on.
Yes, thanks for having me.
I feel like I had the perfect background. I don't know if the mic picked it up of barking, and it kicked up right as I said reactive dog. It was too perfect.
Like, they knew.
They knew. Well, I am excited because this is really our first chance to connect. So I am excited to hear more about your personal dog. Dogs?
Just one. I am a one dog home.
Same.
Yes. I don't know how others do it. There is a potential in the future. There's a potential, but I have Miss Emmy May. She is 6 years old, almost 7 in April, but you wouldn't believe that if you saw her. Most people walking by, they're like, oh, is she a puppy?
I get that with Remy too.
Yes. She has that just excitable, happy energy all the time. So I got her back when I was still teaching. And she was just kind of a spur of the moment. Oh, I want to get a border collie mix, and I was ready for it. But she ended up being very different than all my dogs growing up. She was most likely 6 to 7 weeks. And what we know about early development and everything, that posed just some different behavioral pieces as she matured. So she really exhibited with a lot of arousal, dysregulation, extreme excitability, and quite a bit of anxiety in that first year or so. So it really posed a big passion of, hey, I was already working with kids, and the field I was working with in education was much more social work side. And so I was getting some of that mental health type work with kids. And then it really led me into that interest with dogs when I got Emmy as well. So she's been my whole heart and soul and passion in starting dog training.
And how long ago was that? Almost 6 years, you said?
Yeah, so 2018.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
And I can relate to the experience of kind of looking back at some things from my first dog that I had as an adult.
yeah.
And within those kind of early days, early months where probably would do things differently
Yep.
today. Um, well, I am excited to hear the story that you brought today. Is the
Yeah.
story about Emmy or is the story about a different dog?
Yeah, the story is actually about her and a little bit about me as well in there and how the mental health of everything.
Absolutely. Well, let's dig in. I'm ready.
Yeah. So a few years ago, so this was about the time when Emmy was 3. And she, at this age, she was like super confident. She was with me working. I was part-time working with dogs at this time. And
Okay.
then I was still working and teaching. And so she would come with me to work with clients. She would come to the daycare, just an all around, like really the only difficulty at that time that we were having was just like hard time settling when fun things are happening.
Yeah.
Really not too much. But during this time, she actually got attacked.
Oh no.
And thankfully, no long lasting injuries or anything. It was surface wounds, but it traumatized me immensely because I was the one who had to pull off the other dog.
Hmm.
And Emmy is a very non-conflict dog, very much like very passive, chooses flight. She's like, I don't want conflict. And then at that same time, she was on medication too, a daily SSRI.
Hmm.
Well, that daily SSRI ended up having a different manufacturer. And so this is not a super common issue that we run into, but what happened is it completely resulted in side effects.
So they changed the manufacturer
Yes,
of
kind of
like
like a
the
generic.
supply. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
still the same medication, but it was just a different manufacturer. So we get that with human medication all the time, and usually we don't see side effects from it. And it's not a hugely well-known piece from my knowledge after I worked with a veterinary behavior too. And it's a very rare, small percentage that is affected. And Emmy was that small percentage. So when
So
she,
she was successfully on the SSRI
yes,
for a
for
period
over
of
a
time.
year.
Okay.
Over a
And
year.
then changed manufacturers
Yep.
and from no side effects to massive side
Whole,
effects.
whole everything,
Wow. Yeah.
nausea.
Yeah.
She became fearful of everything. We stepped out the door and she was scared of people. She was scared of dogs.
Wow.
And what I unknowingly was doing at the time, I was yes and treating, not knowing what was going on.
Hmm.
But she was feeling sick. Even in training, she would try to do her training and she wouldn't take food.
How
So
does this fit in with the timeline of the incident with the other dog?
yeah, it was all around the same time.
Mm.
It was probably a week or two after she was after the attack. She
Okay, so like
was
rapid succession.
rapid sickness. So it was boom, boom, and then it was almost, it had to have been a couple months that we were sitting there trying to figure out what is actually going on
Right, because
because
that's not what
no, we
we would
wouldn't
never guess
immediately
that.
no.
No.
And to go from, I would be like, okay, fearful of dogs. Yes, after an attack, that would make sense. But then fearful of people and sounds, I was like, this is something else is going on here. And then the not eating, there was a lot to it. So we ended up figuring out what happened through a vet behaviorist, and she was amazing. She pinpointed it, and nobody else figured it out. And she was like, "When was the last time you filled her medication?" And I
Wow.
thought, and I was like,
Just like
this timing,
literally like
yeah,
a different, almost like a different batch.
yes, it was just that
Could
was
cause,
simply that.
yeah.
Yep.
Wow. And
So.
that happens with food. I feel like people have that understanding of food,
Mhm.
but maybe less so about medication. I wouldn't have thought of
Yeah,
that.
never would have came across my mind. Yeah. So yeah, like during that time, we then got back on a new medication, got everything kind of sorted out. But I had so much anxiety still because I was like, okay, my dog isn't the same dog anymore. She's not who I knew. She wasn't able to kind of do everything that we used to do, going for walks together. And I was on edge consistently of thinking about, okay, what if a dog comes out of this house right now? Okay, what if a dog comes out of that house? What am I going to do? The intrusive thoughts were horrible. But I still was like, I'm still going to do that because this is my routine. And after therapy and finally listening to my therapist, I realized that this is not helping. It is not helping me to be going and putting myself on these walks every day, being this anxious, and it's not helping Emmy either.
Yeah.
So I ended up starting to take a step back, and I was like, we're not going to do walks. We are going to focus in on, we did a lot of scent work. That was something we had grown together with, and tricks. It was like, we're going to do stuff is fun in the safety of our home, and that we can build that confidence and relationship back together.
Yeah. And the tricks give a nice kind of focus and context to what you're doing. And the scent work for most dogs, I would say, can have a, decompressing element of kind of getting that out of their system. I think some dogs can be more stimulated by that than decompressed. But I think if you kind of work through scent work, I think ultimately you see that decompression because it is fulfilling a need. To me, this sounds like the absolute best thing that you could have done in that situation was to just go back to literally step one, day one, because when you were describing these two things that like unknowingly were happening concurrently, this was a huge event in her outside world and then also a huge event on her inside world, like within a matter of 2 weeks. So you kind of can end up with a whole brand new dog and needing to go back to step one, because otherwise you're just going to stall out trying to, like you said, kind of push through your previous routine. To what end? Like, to say I walked my dog around the block.
Exactly. And it was just because I was like, that is what we did.
That's what people do. People walk their dogs. That's what we do. But is it, right? I think that's where you have to get curious, right?
And
about what can actually help.
Where's the benefit? What is this benefiting me? Is this helping me and her at this time? And with taking that step back, I noticed a huge mindset shift in myself and how much more confident I became. And it was like, because I'm seeing all the strengths in her. I'm like, wow, she's picking that up. Wow, that's so amazing. And I'm getting that confidence seeing her succeed, which then makes me feel good because she's having such positive experiences that when we did start to, gradually enter back outside and doing things with the help of friends, we had so much more confidence about it. And thankfully, she's a different case. She came back more confident than ever. And she's back working. She works with my reactive clients now and is still the crazy girl to this day, but she has become back, gained all that confidence and more, which has been so beautiful to watch in her.
Yeah. It sounds like the expectation of kind of who she was before those incidents were keeping you kind of stuck. And I think that's something that we as professionals see a lot is, the dog that you thought you were going to have or the dog that you did have before things changed. There is such thing as single event learning. Traumatic events can change a dog, but there is a way forward, but the way forward is not pretending that that incident didn't happen. Now, I think that there is a way after an incident to try and help minimize the impact, but I think
Yeah,
that the degree to which something is traumatic is really going to impact that, right? Like a
absolutely.
knock them out, drag them out fight,
Yeah,
it's not yours to minimize. Like
no,
that's an event, that's an incident, that is traumatic for dogs,
yes,
especially dogs who are already fear reactive. Like
yes,
that's going to be impactful. But sometimes, we can help our dogs I don't want to say power through, but
yeah,
learn what they can do.
yeah, like building
Learn
resilience.
building their resilience. That's
Yeah,
exactly it. What were some of the activities other than the scent work and the
yeah,
tricks, or maybe more specifically within the
yeah.
tricks, that helped you build her confidence in a way that you could take it out into the world? Because that's where I think
Yeah,
people get stuck is like, okay,
yeah,
how do I take that from my living room and
out
actually go out in
into,
the world? And I know you said you had some
absolutely.
friends help you with that.
Yes, I did. So so one of her favorite tricks is 2 feet, which is her paws up.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes them just poke out their
Yes.
chest
It's
and
like,
just feel themselves.
yes.
Yes.
And that I often will still use on walks to this day. I
Mhm.
find it as a great trick for just getting them a little bit elevated, which can
Mhm.
help them oversee everything and make them feel a little bit more confident. And it's fun. Building something, I think too, like having the patterns of, hey, this is that trick that we do.
This is
And
that
even
thing.
this is that thing that even though, hey, maybe there's some crazy things going on in the world, I know this pattern. I know this
Yeah.
trick.
Yeah.
And it provides that, how would I describe that? A
I
sense of
call it
security.
I call it an anchor. It anchors
Yes.
them to
Yeah.
previous things that they've done and yeah, provides that security.
Yeah. And we do the same thing with scent work because that is such a positive feeling. When that scent tin comes out, it is, let me go to my place, let me get ready. I am ready to sniff. And she had transferred that too, because I often do a go sniff scatter, or what a lot of people
Yeah.
call a find its,
Hmm.
and having that transfer over into walks. I don't often have to do a lot of management with her, because if she sees something that causes big feelings, she often goes to sniff. And it's such a
Sniffing is a great alternative behavior. I'm just like,
beautiful
oh, it's
alternative behavior.
perfect.
I
Hmm.
love it. And it's like,
Hmm.
I was like, wow, what a great choice.
She's
That
still aware of exact
absolutely.
she knows. People are
Oh,
like, well,
yeah.
she just didn't see it. She just didn't
Oh,
know.
no.
Come on.
Our dogs
Come
know.
on.
Our
These
dogs
dogs know
know.
way more than we do.
Oh, yes. So I really see a lot of that being bridged over. And I think another piece of it too is what I have noticed, especially is like you were saying with a lot of our clients, they go through this same thing. Whether or
Mhm.
not their dog has had an experience, or even when they go to adopt a dog, they have this idea in their mind of,
Mhm.
I'm going to get this dog and we're going to go hiking. We're going to go to all the patios. And then what happens 3 months in, they start to see that reactivity, and there's that grieving process, and just the, I can't do this with my dog. I can't do this with my dog. I can't go do that with my dog. And it's all of these I can'ts.
Feels very limiting,
It's,
very isolating.
yes, yes. And then, like, what I really try to bring in with my clients is, what can you and your dog do together? What can
Yeah.
you do of like, hey, let's have some goals on, not only are we working our BMOD and our reactivity training, but let's see what your dog's interested in. And
Yeah.
so a lot of my clients, they get to pick between like scent work, some tricks. We do
Something,
trick
something.
titling in the
Yes.
home, because these dogs might not be able to go into classes, but I have dogs who are getting their trick titles throughout our private sessions. And
Joy is such an important part of
yes,
behavior modification and being able to have that fun and
yes,
separate from the stressy work
yes,
because that's very dysregulating and
yeah,
they need to have to your point when you were talking about when Emmy wasn't feeling well
mm-mm,
and you were trying to train and trying to do
mm-hmm,
things, you don't want training to become kind of tarnished and become a negative experience, because that can really spiral downward versus
Exactly.
the sort of positive spiral of you see her enjoying training, which makes you enjoy training, which makes you bring the good energy, which makes her want to do it more.
Yeah.
That can really spiral in either direction.
Yeah.
So it's important that we are truly looking for ways that we can just enjoy spending time with and engaging with our dogs.
Absolutely. And I think that was something that I was seeing missing a lot in training. And also, like the clients, I had one client actually in particular who told me, hey, when you give me activities like the tricks to do, that helps me to stay consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just so helpful to hear that
The
and
humans need
validate it.
positive like
Yes,
they need the positive reinforcement of
just
having
as
fun training
much.
sessions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That way
Yeah.
they keep wanting to come back.
Yeah, because I was always thinking, I'm like, oh, well, we're not hitting this exact piece, but this is I always go back, the whole child approach in teaching is the whole dog. We have to look at every piece and
I've
then
never
adding in the
heard that.
humans.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, I've heard the whole dog. I've never heard the whole child.
whole child approach of not only, you have to take in the mental health, the social well-being, all the pieces of the puzzle. And so, being able to tap into that fun and that positive energy is just, I just think it's so important.
It is. And I think that progress in behavior modification
Hmm.
can again like really stall out without it.
Yeah,
I've seen that happen, and then I've seen this open things up for people and bring their dogs into kind of just like a new way to move around the world, because
yeah,
things are, it seems silly. It seems almost silly
yeah,
to say that tricks can
yeah.
really translate like that, but they
Hmm.
can.
They can. Yeah. Oh, I,
They
I doubted
they
it at
make it a
times
lot
too.
easier.
I
Yeah.
doubted it at times too. I was like, there's no way. But I look back and I see it. I see it
Yeah.
not only in myself, but clients.
And I think that it's worth everyone asking themselves, what does my dog seem to have the most fun doing when we're
Hmm.
together? What do I have the most fun doing? And either finding ways to integrate
Yeah.
both or finding a compromise, but doing things just for the sake of it was
Just,
fun.
yep.
Great, do it.
Yeah.
It's
Do more of it.
necessary.
Have
Do
fun
more
with
of
each
it.
other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Okay, Alex, is there anything else you would like the listeners to know about you or what you do?
Yeah, so a big part of what I love doing in this dog training realm too is just building community. And so I really am trying my best to find a lot of different options that I can offer for accessibility because not everybody can afford a private session. We know
Right,
that.
right.
So I have now that I've started to do like drop-ins at a local pet store that has been
Cool.
super fun. I have reactive dog classes. So that's a little bit lower cost than our private sessions. And then I also have just started adding in some virtual classes as well for people. And when I'm not doing classes and everything, I really just love getting out and hiking with friends. And a lot of my clients now, we go for hikes with our dogs, and we've got this really cute little community in this area where we just all kind of get together and just have fun with our dogs.
Yeah.
And
Not right now
so
because it's negative 30 degrees, but
not
you
right
know.
now, but probably we do typically still meet up once a month right
Wow,
now. Not
I'm
when it's
impressed.
negative 20, but when it
Okay,
gets
okay.
around 20s and 30s, we all bundle up with our pups and we still
Yeah,
go out. And it's just been really nice to have that sort of piece. And especially when working with reactive dogs, like you said, it can be really isolating. So having a
yeah.
community is so important. And so I'm always open to chatting with people, even if it's not training wise. Like if anybody ever wants to just chat and send me a message on Instagram, I love connecting with people and hearing, what they're going through as well.
We are all big dog nerds and we
Yes.
just love talking about dogs.
Yes.
Well, you can connect with Alex on Instagram at Emmys_way_LLC, and you can find more information and a link to her work in the show notes. Thanks for joining us in the world of Dog Training Bytes, where every challenge brings a lesson worth sinking our teeth into. See you next time. Dog Training Bytes was created, produced, and edited by Mattison Simpson. You can connect with me on Instagram at Dog Training Bytes, that's BYTES, and at Freed by Training. For information on today's guest and resources for help with your dog or dog training education, visit www.dogtrainingbytes.stream. Looking for more? Listen to my other show, Unpacked, a clinical dog training podcast co-hosted by Sailor Jerry the dog trainer and produced by Straight Up Dog Talk, LLC.